What is going on, guys? We are back, and today we are going to be starting a brand new Surviving With series, which is Surviving with Mekanism version 10. Now, version 10 came out about a month and a half ago, and ever since then, you guys have been asking me pretty much every video and in Twitter messages and all that stuff to do a Surviving With series on it, and so we are finally going to be doing that, starting it today, and I am super excited. Hopefully you guys are too. Now, before we actually get to jump into some of the fun stuff, I am going to give my usual spiel at the beginning of every Surviving With series. If you've been here for a bunch of these, you've heard this many times, and you'll probably hear it many more if you stick around. But for those of you that are new here, the Surviving With series is pretty much based around playing through Minecraft with one core mod, in this case Mekanism version 10, that alters the game in a pretty fundamental way. And then there's a couple other supporting mods, things like Wayla, JEI, quality of life mods that don't really affect gameplay but make it much more bearable to play through the game. Now, a full list of mods will be in the description along with their versions so that you can find them and play along if you'd like to. So now that we've gone over pretty much all the basic housekeeping stuff, we can get into crafting. So we have a lot of resources in here today that we're going to be using, a ton of iron and osmium and redstone, which might actually be surprising since it's just the first episode of the series, but we actually have a lot of crafting to do today to get where we want to be by the end of the episode, and that's going to be having a renewable power source. So there's pretty much two different renewable power sources we could be going with at the start of Mekanism, which is the advanced solar generator or the wind generator. Now, obviously you could go with a regular solar generator, but we're pretty fancy around here, so we're going to stick with just the advanced one, since that's really the one that's going to be able to compete with the wind generator itself. So we're going to go with the advanced solar generator today, and once we eventually start placing this down, I'll briefly cover sort of the pros and cons of each of these. Just to say it right now, pretty much the advanced solar generator at this basic Y level, because Y level is going to determine the power generation of the wind generator. The solar generator is going to generate us more power, assuming we sleep at night and don't let it constantly stay nighttime when this won't be getting us any power. It's significantly more expensive to make, but you would be making multiple wind generators to get roughly the same amount of power as this anyway. So we're going to stick with this to keep it compact. The wind generator will be more effective if you're willing to build up very high, but then you have to make a lot more of the basic universal cables to transport the power, which are going to require steel, which is going to require you to work with even more iron to make them and redstone. So eventually it's going to balance out. To make it a lot less painful, we're just going to do advanced solar generation. So yeah, that's sort of my 2 cents on it. We'll go over it a little bit more later on because there are a lot of things you can factor in. But we are going to grab out all this stuff, and hopefully I counted everything correctly, because there actually is a ton of different stuff in here that we have to go through. And the main things that I want to note are right here, this iron and this iron are going to be used for both steel and crafting some stuff in the Metallurgic infuser once we get that. So we're going to first come over and we have to craft the heat generator. So the heat generator is pretty much the first generator you're going to be able to use. It's really cheap, and you're pretty much going to throw things like coal in here and be able to get power out of it. So we'll pull this out, and we're going to throw it down pretty much right over here. And you can see if we were to, let's grab out some coal from right in here. We'll throw a whole stack in there for now. So it's going to turn it into lava, and then that lava is going to slowly deplete as it generates power. Now we can switch down here if we want between the different units. I'm just going to keep it on joules right now, but you do have the ability to do that, and you can switch between Fahrenheit, the standard temperature and pressure, Kelvin, Celsius, Rankine. No one uses Rankine. I used it for 1 year in school, and then you like never touch it again. So yeah, just a side note, if you guys are wondering what the R stands for, it stands for Rankine. But no one uses that. Okay, so now we need to make the Metallurgic infuser, and this one again is really cheap. 2 furnaces, osmium, 4 iron, 2 redstone. So we'll make that, and this is pretty much the basis behind all of the secondary crafting that we need to do today. Now, unfortunately, we have to set this up a little bit wonky at first, specifically because to get these basic universal cables like I showed you guys, they require steel. Now you get 8 from it, but you still need to make the steel to get any of them. And you make those using, right here, steel dust. You get steel dust in the Metallurgic infuser using enriched iron. You get enriched iron in the Metallurgic infuser using regular iron. and putting some form of carbon in. So we're just going to use coal for that. So we're going to throw this down because the power is being output out the back. We're going to put this right here. Internal power goes up. Now we should be able to use 4 coal for this, and we need to put in 2 iron because that's going to convert twice over to get the dust for the steel that we can then cook down. Pretty much everything else in here that we are going to be making is going to be, let's see, where is it? The infused alloy, which is going to be redstone and iron. You're going to make so many of these today. I think we're making roughly 30 of them, if I counted correctly. So we still have 20 carbon left, and we're going to put the enriched iron back in, and we're going to get out our steel, which we can cook down. Then we can finally reset this so that we have some cables to work with. Now, this is definitely surprising to me compared to other mods, because getting your first set of cables, I would say, actually requires more work in Mekanism than in most mods. Obviously it's not a lot of work, but it definitely requires more than usual. Okay, so we'll throw those in here. We can throw the copper back in here. I did some mining. Didn't even cook down everything so far that I got, but I used up pretty much all the iron that I have, most of the redstone, and I think, yeah, we have a little osmium left. So we're really hoping that I got the ingredients for today correct. So there we go. We have our steel, and then we can use these along with redstone and get our basic universal cables. Now, I should probably make, there should be like a wrench or a hammer in here of some sort. I don't even know. Where is it? Is it the configurator? Is that what it's called? I can't remember if that's what it's called to configure. So configure it. Okay, well, there's probably a wrench in here or something. That seems, I don't think that's the right one to rotate machines. Maybe it is, and it's been so long since I played Mekanism. But whatever, we are going to manually move this. So we'll keep this out. I guess we'll place it down. If you shift click, no, it doesn't place it down the other way. Great. Okay, well, we're gonna put this down facing like this, just because if we have excess coal and we need some power immediately, we can use this. So there's no harm in actually putting this down right here and then throwing the cables on the back of it and extending them out. And then we can throw down the metallurgic infuser, which is great. And we should probably start going through with all of the 30 pretty much iron that we need and the 30 redstone in here, so that we can make all the different infused alloy that we need, since we're using that in pretty much every craft that we're doing today. So I'm going to throw all this in here. It is a little bit unfortunate because if you were to use things like enriched redstone, you would get more from it. So eventually we'll make sure we have the enrichment chamber to do that, so we're not wasting stuff. But then we can throw some iron in here. For some reason, I feel like we don't have enough iron for this. I don't know why. I just thought we would have more, but we should sleep when it becomes nighttime, because the next thing we are going to be crafting is pretty much the entirety of the advanced solar generator. So, and it's actually a lot to craft for this. Okay, well, it doesn't want to let us sleep. Eventually, also, I will have a house. We're not going to live outside. We're not going to be homeless, don't worry. I'm going to do a big factory for this series just because there's a lot of stuff we got to get through. I know it's probably not going to be that fancy. I'll try and make it look nice, but we want to have a lot of space because things like Mekanism's ore processing and whatnot requires a lot of space and a lot of piping and all that good stuff. So just a heads up on that front. But okay, so we ran out of power here, which means we are going to need more coal to throw in here. Chances are I'm actually probably going to need even more. So I'm going to start cooking down some of this, and we can grab out some of the coal in here too, just to give us a little bit more to work with. I don't know why I have this set on Rankine. We can set it on, let's set it on Kelvin. Everyone works with Kelvin. Okay, so now we can start crafting the advanced solar generator, which, like I said, takes a lot of resources. Now, pretty much the base of it is, 3 iron, 2 infused alloy, not bad. But the 4 individual solar generators that go into actually constructing this are the expensive part, because those each require some osmium, some iron, 2 more infused alloy, the tablets. Now, of course, we need to make 4 of these. So once we have 8 infused alloy, we can do that. And as we can see, we do not have enough power for this. So this is a reason I probably should have collected even more coal, is because we're going to run into this. So we'll grab out all of that in there, and then we'll use some of this. We're just going to burn through this. But this is why you need renewable power. This is not going to be nearly enough to actually finish crafting all this stuff. So I'm probably going to have to hop off camera and either go get some more coal or chop down a bunch of trees so that we can actually continue working with this. Yeah, since this is really not efficient in terms of generating power. Okay, yeah, so instead of trying to just slowly do this, I'm going to hop off camera. I'm going to go chop down a bunch of trees or go mine some coal, whichever one seems more readily available, and then we will be back. Okay, guys, so we are back finally. It took me forever to get enough coal to do this. I got it from both mining and getting some charcoal from chopping down some trees over there. But we finally have the 30 infused alloy. I'm going to be a little bit mad if I counted this out wrong. For some reason, I think now that it might be 28, but we'll see. So the first thing to make is just 4 solar generators. So everything we do here, we got to make 4 of. So 4 energy tablets. There we go. Then we got pretty much the rest of this stuff other than the solar panels is already just individual stuff. So now we need to make 12 solar panels. And these take some regular, you can just have regular glass panes, they don't need to be stained, 3 osmium, 2 redstone, and an infused alloy. So we can make 12 of those. There we go. And then we'll make, oh yeah, I guess since those aren't going to stack, we have to make all of them individually because of the energy tablets. There we go. Did we do it right? Did we count right? Let's see. Ho! Everything was perfect. So I had a little bit of extra iron, which I guess I had pulled out from there in case we needed more in the Metallurgic infuser, but everything else was counted out properly. So we did actually need 30, and this thing looks absolutely hilarious to hold up in your hand, as you can see. It's quite large. I believe this is 5 tall. I think both the wind turbine and the advanced solar generator are 1 by 1 by 5. It may be 4, but I think it's 5. But now we finally have renewable energy. So I think we'll put it down right back here. And we have to rotate it because this one, again, places down that way. So there we go. So now you can see that this is filling up with power. And thankfully, this is generating us 264.84 joules per tick. So it's getting us a fair bit of power. Thankfully, we'll actually be able to run the Metallurgic infuser without having to painstakingly gather as much coal as possible. So that's definitely nice. Now, I did want to tell you guys a couple other things about the wind turbine in case you do decide to go with that. So it is dependent on the Y level where you place it, and the equation is 20 times the Y level plus 180, and then all of that divided by 11, and that's going to be the joules per tick. So it maxes out at 255 on the Y level. The Y level is calculated actually from the top of it, so not the level where you're standing, but the actual top of the wind turbine itself. Obviously, that's where it's going to be spinning. So you got to take that into account. The minimum Y level you can place it down at is 24. That's the minimum it'll calculate for, is 24. And the max joules per tick it can generate is 480. So again, it'll be more efficient if you're willing to put it way up in the sky, but then you're looking at a lot of these cables to be able to bring the power down. It's going to look a little bit weird, which is the big drawback for me, but it'll be a little bit cheaper in terms of making the actual renewable generator itself. So really it's up to you what you want to do in terms of, what I wanted to do. We went with the solar generator, especially because I think this looks awesome, but in all fairness, both of them look pretty cool. So we managed to make it through everything we wanted to today. Definitely going to be pushing for the ore processing, considering I used up most of what I had. I got some more iron and osmium while I was down there getting coal, but it looks like we're already running low after I've done a significant amount of mining so far since I actually started this world. But hopefully you guys enjoyed today's episode. Let me know in the comments what things you're looking forward to seeing. Anything you want me to go over specifically in the series would be great, because I know a lot of you have been asking for this series specifically because you want to play with some of the new things in Mekanism v10, and there's not actually that much documentation out on them yet. There's not any videos yet, strictly because it came out a little bit over a month ago. So a lot of the reason that we're pushing this series out so fast is because we want to get all the information out there for you guys to be able to use. So One other thing I want to say, and I posted this on Twitter, but I know a lot of you guys don't follow me there, so just a heads up for all of you. I know you guys have been loving the Create series. I have been too. It's an absolutely phenomenal mod. It's definitely a different sort of mod compared to most of them, including Mekanism, so it's pretty refreshing to play with. We're going to be running both of these series at the same time. So we used to do this all the time, probably going to be alternating for the most part between videos, unless I do something really exciting that requires the next video to come out for that series. So just keep that in mind. The Create series isn't going anywhere. There's still a lot of stuff left to do in that one. And we're just putting out the Mekanism one now so that you guys can get the info you need to be able to play with this in mod packs with your friends and have all the fun you possibly could without having to wait, for months and months and months until people get out different mod spotlights and documentation on all the different stuff. So again, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's episode, and I will talk to you later.
Standing in a glass bowl at the end of a black hole, cold, lost and upside down. Faces swirling past me, all my memories rolling vastly.